Hello, this is Mr. Inadequate. You see Baldur's Gate 3 in the background. I'm not going to play much. What this is an update to the video that came out earlier on the 3rd. I have found that in addition to the 3 new races and the new class, that there are potentially, I'll have to rely on this guy's videos, but potentially new subclasses coming out, and I'm going to list them, maybe talk a little bit about them from what I know. For those of you who are familiar with Dungeons and Dragons 5e, these won't be things you don't know about or shouldn't be. Now, first subclass is Wild Magic Barbarian. Wild Magic Barbarian can, in his rages, use wild magic surges. And I'm not sure whether you get to choose which one of the effects or if they're random. But there are a bunch of, and from what I understand, all beneficial uh, effects. Some of them are offensive, some defensive, but it certainly puts an interesting twist on the barbarian. And it sounds, I could be wrong, I'd have to wait for the game to come out and see the stats involved. But if Wild Magic Barbarian is a thing, I think Half Orc would probably be suited to it very well. Next up is Druid, and that's the Circle of Spore, which you have a cloud of spores around you and has some very interesting effects, including a type of animate dead. Fighter champion, not real interesting. It does allow you, the main thing I saw was it does allow you, like you choose great weapon for the fighter, but then if you're a champion, you'll get a chance uh, to choose another one. So you could put archery in there. So you got somebody who can fight with a great weapon, or if he has to, be good with a bow. Ranger, Gloomstalker, which looks very interesting. I'm not sure how it would play well in a party, but it's very good at setting up ambushes and very hard to see, even if you have you can see in the dark. Rogue, the Assassin, which I am pretty sure a lot of people are going to like. Sorcerer, there's the Storm Sorcerer. Excuse me. Another very interesting one to me is Bards, the College of Swords, which is basically the Blade Bard. And you could even have a dual wield Bard, which sounds good. It would have to be scimitars, I believe. Now, Monk, you're going to have 3 types: Open Hand, Shadow Monk, and 4 Elements Monk. Warlock, you're going to have the Fey Wild Warlock. Paladin, you're going to have a Vengeance Oath, which to me, I'm not sure exactly how that works. It talks about you have to kill the things you swore vengeance about, but I'm not sure if that's going to be like a choice at the beginning where you choose something like undead or wizards or drow, or how that's going to work. Cleric, you got 4 different types: knowledge, nature, tempest, and war. War cleric is something that I'd be very interested in, and I think that's probably something a shield dwarf would probably be very good at. And then wizard, conjuration, divination, enchantment, necromancy, illusion, and transmutation. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be looking at necromancy in that list. Some of them didn't look that good to me, but they're just not my play style more than anything else. Now, like I said, barbarian, I don't know. A half orc wild magic barbarian sounds pretty good. Druid, circle of spore. It sounds very complicated, but it could be a very useful. The the thing is, I don't think you can wild shape if you're Circle of Spore. Instead, if you chose the wild shape, you would get, without changing shape, you would get that the bonuses associated, like with a boar or a bear or whatever. Uh, Dual wield bard sounds very interesting to me. Open hand monk, shadow monk. I forget what shadow monk was. I don't have the information. I just have the list. Those that sounds interesting. Feywild warlock. Basically, you're going to be using Fey powers and possibly being able to summon nymphs and stuff. I'm not sure exactly. The Vengeance Paladin, again, I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work. It would seem to me that I like, what happens if you forswear your oath? Do you then become very passive? I'm not sure. And War Cleric, I like playing clerics, and I like playing clerics that can do some damage. So a war cleric could be a frontline cleric with his healing skills and with war abilities, doing damage and stuff. Which brings me back to the Druid Circle of Spores. They did say, from what I saw, that Shillelagh will be a very useful skill for them. And then Wizard, I don't know that I would play any of them. The Conjuration, Divination, Enchantment, Necromancy, Illusion, and Transmutation all seem kind of, well, it says for Necromancy, all seem kind of esoteric, but we will have to wait because as the person who put forth the videos that I saw about those uh, said, Baldur's Gate 3 is based on 5 Dungeons and Dragons, but doesn't mean that they will do a one-on-one match in Baldur's Gate 3. There's certain things like, uh, what is it? Ranger Gloomstalker might get greater invisibility, but that would be hard to put into the game, they said, and it wouldn't be at launch, probably, that particular skill, because it would come at, I think it was level 13, and the cap at launch will be 12. I'm sure that it'll get expanded as we go along, the cap, that is. So,
All's well that ends. Not as bad as it could have.
yes, that's exactly what I'm going to say about the potential new subclasses. Now, I got this off of one source. I'm hoping Wolfhard FPS will do some, I asked him to, will do some further research and come up with a good video on these. Uh, I'm still looking at a number of different starting characters when I start playing at launch. Uh, I could go Dragonborn Vengeance. I could go War Cleric, Wild Magic Barbarian, maybe Circle of Spores for the Druid. I don't know about, if I'm going to play a Ranger, it'll be Beastmaster, not Gloomstalker. Rogue Assassin is kind of interesting. These are all things we're going to have to play around with. And monks, I have played monks in other games, and my thing about monks is they can be very squishy early on and then become pretty much unkillable. And then there's dual wield College of Swords Bard. That sounds very interesting to me too. I just wanted to add this little addendum to my announcement about Baldur's Gate 3 launch because I consider it very interesting, especially if these potential new subclasses do make it into the game. This is Mr. Inadequate, and I will see you next time. And have a happy July 4th.